Hello and welcome back to Karma Stories. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're diving into r/marriage and a story from a woman who's gone through a very hard time and deserves a lot better. I'm not going to say too much more on this one. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. This writing in the marriage confessional comes to us from Adventurous Age 9223. This all sounds insane, but it really happened, and I need perspective. 1 year married, now divorcing. I'm trying to put this into words because I feel like I've been living in a fog for years, and now that it's over, I can barely tell what was real. When we met, he was 20, a stoner, sleeping in all day, playing video games constantly. I was 18 and already a manager at a retail store. I had responsibility, independence, my own life. From the start, the dynamic was off, but I didn't realize it. He asked me to move in a few weeks of meeting me, and I had my own beauty room, a huge house, and it all seemed perfect. Over the next 6 years, I became his world. We built his life together, his career, his routine, everything. And I slowly lost mine and my identity. Looking back now, I genuinely don't think he's actually asked me anything about myself without me just telling him. But he would always talk about himself and his childhood. He comes from money, and we lived in a house his mom built for him to be closer to his college. His stepdad used to call him a bachelor prince in his mansion. They never get along, and now I see and understand. I stepped into that role. I cleaned, cooked, did laundry, made all his appointments, literally everything but wipe his butt. I genuinely mothered him, and that's what my regret is. I made sure his life ran smoothly, daily. There were times he'd lay in bed and say, "Dress me," as a joke, and I did it. I did it all. We only had one car, so while he was gone all day, I was home alone. And even then, he never went out of his way for me, never planned a birthday, not once in 6 years. But every birthday I did for him was magical. If we had to do literally anything or go anywhere, I had to initiate it, and he would follow. I carried the entire emotional load. He would make me a coffee if I asked, or bring me something if I needed it, so that's nice. He's always had anger issues. When he gets mad, it's like a switch flips, but his response is, "You're the only person I've been like this with, so maybe it is me." If I didn't like something, his response was, "This is who I am, and I'll do what I want." There's no talking, no compromise, and I don't want to become a nag. He was addicted to his phone and video games, day and night, driving. I rarely saw him without it. Hanging out with family, glued. I felt invisible. But now he is on his healing journey and stopped all of that, he said. Shocked because that probably could have saved a lot. A month before our wedding, we were in Colorado on a snowmobile and got stuck, and it was snowing and so cold, and I started to cry. His response, "I'm gonna crash into a tree and harm us." That was it. He said I ruined the experience for him. And I still married him and had my dream $80,000 wedding with 25 people. But he did that for me, so he loves me, right? The day before we left for our honeymoon to Spain, we got into an argument. He started throwing things off the wall, and a painting hit me in the face and split it open. I had to go to the hospital. The nurse looked at me, then at my phone background because I got a notification, and what do you know, my brand new wedding photo, and I just said, I fell. I think she knew because they took pictures and put it on file. I went to Ulta for color correctors and powders to help me eventually when it closed. I remember going into a restaurant after. We stood in line, and although I had a hat on, it was right in between my eyes, eyebrow, forehead, so you could still see. People were just staring at us, and I got really uncomfortable that I just left and went back to the car while he was in line. On the drive to the airport, I tried to do my makeup in the car. He looked over and said, "It looks good. Good job." And in that moment, I felt something I never had before. Hatred. At the time, he cried, told me to call the cops. I didn't because I would never want something to be permanently on file and ruin his image and career. He said he couldn't believe he hurt me. Later, when I brought it up down the road, he said, "You were in the way." That moment never left me. After that, I started reacting. I'll own my part, I said hurtful things, especially when I felt ignored or invisible. but that came from being emotionally exhausted and trying to get a response from someone who couldn't give me anything emotionally. I shouldn't have said a lot of the things, but that's immaturity on my part, and I take accountability. I felt completely alone in my own relationship and marriage. Crying, he walked past. Anxiety, annoying to him. My well-being, have a seizure in front of him, not his responsibility. I did develop somewhat of an eating disorder because I felt that was the only thing I had control over, and multiple family members pulled him aside and said, "You need to take care of her." And he told them, "I know, I'm trying." He told me less than 5 times maybe, "Eat more." I also developed lupus over the course of the past year. A few months ago, I started rebuilding a relationship with my mom, who wasn't a good parent and had given me to my grandparents. When he found out, he said softly, "No, I want you all to myself." That was supposed to sound loving, but now it feels scary. Early on, maybe for like the first 2 years, he would call me names. Stupid B, stupid C. He left me alone at a wedding in another state with people I didn't know and went back to the hotel just because I said I didn't want to leave yet. Recently, I slipped on ice and hurt myself. He laughed. He didn't even care if I walked our dog late at night or said, "Be careful," or literally anything. Toward the end, he was giving me subliminal messages like smiling at me and "I hate you." And I would be like, "What the F, haha." Or petting our dog and saying, "You're the only reason we're together." This past year, we moved to a new state for his big salary job, and it made everything worse. One tiny apartment, isolated. I became depressed. He started detaching, I guess, and really showed me no regard. He said he thought I would change and become a better, happier person once we moved, but he was the one who never changed literally anything about his behavior and how to step up and be better to me. A month before everything ended, he took me to his company Christmas party. I met everyone, smiled, played the part of the happy wife. Now I feel humiliated just thinking about it. Shortly after, he was already talking to a female coworker. A week before our 1-year anniversary, he bought me a dress, told me I looked beautiful. The next day, he came home sobbing. He didn't want to be with me anymore, crying, saying things like, "I put everyone before myself. I'm such a caring person. I won't let you guilt trip me. I let this go on too long. I don't even know who I am." Meanwhile, he hadn't changed a single thing. He just waited for me to. He even called my grandma sobbing, saying I would come stay with her for a few months, that he had put me in therapy, and hoped I could address my childhood trauma, because that's where this all stems from. He said he confided in a coworker, but wasn't looking for anything. A few days later, I found messages with that coworker. He said, "Thanks so much for listening to me. It helped more than you know," with a red heart. Sending pictures of our cats, talking to her all day, telling her he was attracted to her. Asking what she ate for dinner, and it was same night I was at home preparing his food. After he told me the news, he sent her a message saying, "Hi, I did it. I'm still alive." Next day, he went out with her and others for 10 hours while I was shaking in bed with my dog, wondering where he went. Changed passwords, iCloud, stopped sharing location, but I did see on my MacBook she shared her location with him and she was in his contacts. I probably made the wrong move and shouldn't have messaged her to ask if she was with my husband, but I did. No answer. And when I confronted him that I saw what I saw, he said, "I said I was attracted to her as a joke, and in person, I confirmed that I meant it in a friend way, and told me to text her to apologize to her for making her uncomfortable with my text message." Insane. I spent 4 days in the apartment just sobbing. He kept telling me daily that I need to go so there can be a safe, healing environment for the both of us because I don't feel safe being around you. 1, I've never heard those words come out of his mouth, ever. 2, he literally put me in a panic every day of telling me that I need to leave as soon as I can. And just everything that happened during and afterwards. I am genuinely traumatized. Like, I genuinely feel like his mask dropped. On one of those days, he came over while I was crying and stroked my hair and said, "You had a good life. You got to go on a lot of trips." Like, is that psycho? Another night, I texted my best friend that I genuinely felt like I was dying and I couldn't remember anything that happened and my heart was literally having pains. and I wanted to Uber to the hospital. She texted him, "I don't know what's going on between you two, but your wife is saying that she wants to Uber to the hospital." He came home 3 hours later and looked at me slurping his drink with food for himself in his hand and goes, "You good? Your friend texted me." Eventually, I left with one suitcase. All my things are still there. He hasn't asked if I need anything, and that I'm not allowed there because I don't pay a dime, even though my name is on the lease as well. The day I left, he asked if I wanted him and our dog to take me to the airport. To what? Torment me? Until he started going erratic and couldn't find his hair gel and accused me of throwing it away. I was crying and just told him I would Uber. His response, "Yeah, go, you can't do anything for yourself." Now he's telling people the reason of his divorce is because he was emotionally abused and that I became mentally unstable. I called him a few weeks out and he sounded insane, telling me everything he was up to, letting me know that he is definitely filing for divorce when the 6-month residency comes, and said that maybe in a year or two, he would think about giving me another chance. Asking me to fly out for relations throughout the year, even after divorce, even bringing up if I would be interested in having someone else join, specifically getting trained, telling me he threw out all his clothes and spent $5,000 on new clothes, which he did because I got the receipt emailed. Working out, stop phone games, eating healthy, and losing weight. I told him what I was doing to better myself, and he cut me off immediately and said, "When are you getting a job? You need to get back to the real world and go to therapy and make sure you go in depth with your issues." I was able to get a sentence in and tell him that I am medicated for ADHD now, and he told me that I will now have to rely on pills for the rest of my life to feel okay. And by the sound of it, I need to up my dosage. He mentioned he was going to therapy down the road for his attachment issues. I literally tried to help him better himself and find hobbies our whole relationship, and he would just lay in bed or video games and have no motivation to do anything. And it really breaks my heart that he's doing all of these things once he kicked the dead horse, it feels. He constantly reminds me this is all because of me, my words, and how I made him feel not good enough for everything he does. And yes, I take accountability on what I've said to him that were hurtful, and I grew a lot of resentment to what happened right after the wedding that went thrown under the rug. I just feel like I stood by his side and built him up when he had no job, let him treat me any way he wanted for 6 years, literally devoted my life to him. He reassured me everything he did was for us, and that my job was to not work and take care of the home and dog, and to buy anything I wanted. And at the times I wanted a part-time job, he assured me that there was no point. But because he went to her and he had a revelation about his life and what he deserves, she gave him the confidence to leave me. It's crazy what this girl absolutely does not know about him or what he's been like for 6 years. It's kind of like new city far away from home, kick the wife, new identity, eerie in a way. I'm starting over from nothing. No education, no job, literally don't know who I am, because everything was a revolving door about him. The day I left and I got to the airport, my one suitcase was overweight and I had to pay $100 with a physical card. He took all the cards, so I called him crying, and he was screaming that I need to get on that plane and go, and can't miss the flight, and if he needs to drive to pay for it, he will have to do that. I was just sobbing in front of TSA. They could hear him yelling, and I just hung up. He texted me assuring that I got it taken care of, and I responded that these people asked if I was in danger and could hear you. His response, "You shouldn't have put me on speaker if I was." I ended up digging through my suitcase and found some Cash App card I was able to transfer $100 to. The TSA guy was an angel and only charged me $20. A few days before everything happened, I prayed, if he's not for me, remove him. When it happened, I begged him not to leave and that I was going to get help to become a better wife. He's all I've ever known, but now I'm thinking, would the love of my life do the things they did to me and said to me just in the beginning of the relationship and throughout? I think the hardest part for me is he gets to control the narrative to everyone for the rest of his life. To any woman or person, I'm the one who divorced her. She was emotionally unstable. Nobody actually knows what those 6 years were like. I think he genuinely met a good woman and ruined her. Yes, there were good moments of us, and I cherish those, but there was a lot of bad. But if I'm being honest, a female who respects herself would have left in the first few months. Now I'm rebuilding. Although I have really nothing, no education, no job, he did agree to give me a whopping $5,000 during the divorce with the words specifically, "I'm not a butthole and I'm not someone with no morals unless you push me to that point, which you do a great job at. And I'm not required to give you anything, I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart, but it doesn't have to be written on paper." I'm thankful this happened to me at only 25 years old. I get to enjoy my grandma's last years of life with her. I'm planning to go to college and do a sonography program, which I have always been interested in. And I think I can make great money for myself to reach stability, get a car, my own place, live my own life, and I get to do it all by myself. He has made me feel very stupid, and I know it will be very hard, but I definitely think that I can do it. And most importantly, I did it on my own, and nobody can just pull my life from me. This has taught me that the hand that feeds you can also starve you, no matter what they say. I really hope I'm able to achieve my goals and reach financial stability. So if I can leave, I am able to. I never want to rely on a man for something I'm not able to get myself. It's a freeing feeling. That is my revenge. I will take the next few years to rebuild, and hopefully by the time I'm in my 30s, the right one will come along. I guess I just needed somewhere to vent, as I really haven't told much family how it was like between us, and nobody really knew. Thanks for listening. I don't even know how to describe if there's actually something wrong with him, or if he really is deranged. Jumping down to the comments on this one, we have one from a user called FluffyChampion8681. It says, 25 is actually the perfect age to restart. You've got time. Another commenter down below called CellistEarly8352 said, I read your entire post, and the amount of crap you endured is staggering. That incident with the painting hitting you in the face on your honeymoon should have been the end right there. What really gets me is how he's completely rewriting history now, painting himself as the victim, while simultaneously trying to keep you as a backup option with those gross fly out for relations comments. The fact that he suddenly became this self-improvement guru the moment he found someone else to give him validation shows exactly who he really is. You didn't ruin anything. You were a convenient mommy wife until he found his next supply. And now he gets to play the role of the reformed man while you're left picking up the pieces of your entire identity. Okay, so we have to honestly say we don't know what country OP and the ex-husband are in, but in a lot of countries, when you get out of a relationship like that, get divorced, you're entitled to a lot more than $5,000. OP, this is where you talk to a lawyer. You endured 6 years of crap from this guy from the time you were still a kid at 19 up until now at 25. He hurt you and was unfaithful. You'll get money from him. In fact, you'll get spousal support that will go on for years. Now, one thing I noticed was even after you divorced, even after you were away from this guy, you continued to contact him. And that is not good for your mental health at all. You need to cut off that contact completely. Only have contact through your lawyers. This guy doesn't deserve to be in your life, except a little bit of his money to help you get going again. Also, if it's been less than a year since that painting was thrown at you, the statute of limitations might not be gone on that one. The hospital does have a record in pictures of when it happened and what it looked like. Do what you will with that information. Alright, everybody on the Karma Stories channel and on the podcast, this story was quite heavy compared to what we normally do here, and I need to know from you if you want to hear more of these. So, drop a comment down below on YouTube or on Spotify and let me know your thoughts on this crazy story. I thank each and every one of you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.